Welcome to 99th Monkey Liberty News for Monday, September 15th, 2014. The first article that I have for today is from RT. Legalize heroin and cocaine. World leaders call for an end to the war on drugs. And in this group are some ex-presidents of some of the countries who have struggled tremendously with drug issues relating to the war on drugs. So I found this a source of hope that that world leaders are calling for an end to the war on drugs. From Veterans Today, ending the continuing stream of America's secret shadow government psyops. I don't always read Veterans Today, but I found this an interesting article, and I thought that some people might find it helpful. It really seems as if the dollar is losing serious ground as the world reserve currency. And this article from Max Kaiser, Financial War Reports, reinforces that. Russia and Iran put oil for goods deals into motion as Iran signals similar arrangements coming with China. So the dollar is really being cut out of the loop. This is happening with or without the Fed being involved, with or without America's approval. Other nations are simply doing this, and America needs to be prepared for this, and Americans need to be aware that this really is happening. From Examiner.com, forming plans to take away gold market and discovery power from U.S. And I actually read an article over the weekend that China and Russia are working out a new system for the SWIFT codes. So world banking is really going to significantly change, and I see that as a positive. However, the U.S. is going to lose buying power especially, and Americans really need to be prepared for this. China forming plans to take away gold market and price discovery power from U.S. Even there is a plan to change the gold markets so that they are not centered in the U.S. and London. Again, it's crucial that Americans know about these issues and prepare. From the Havoc Journal, Crumbling Pillars, a ranger explains the rise of analytical entropy. This is an article about how crucial it is that we think about things, that we process things, and don't just conform. And I think we're in a where it's never for us to begin to process things and arrive at our own conclusions instead of being told what we should think about things. There is a new Benjamin Fulford weekly blog this morning. The Nazionists are losing, Europe is surrendering, Japan is close to revolution. This seems true, and Benjamin Fulford has examples and reasons of how and why this is true. And there's just this vibe in general, I think, that I'm sensing that things can't really continue on as they have been. And even friends that I have who don't embrace all of the liberty and truth movement to the degree that I do are sensing the same thing, that people are figuring out that something is wrong and that fundamental change is coming. And David Wilcock, he said that he read Fulford's blog when there were only, I think, 3 comments, and he commented right away. And I typically find his comments on Wilcock's and Fulford's blog enlightening and helpful. And he spoke about or wrote about a movie here, another film with some degree of anti-cabal disclosure in it is Edge of Tomorrow. Evidently, Tom Cruise has a new film called Edge of Tomorrow. And according to David Wilcock, it does expose the cabal's plan to some extent. Personally, I have become a huge Tom Cruise fan. Looking back over the films that he's done in the last several years, most of them, if not all of them, are exposing some aspect of the evil plan to dominate and control and eventually even do away with humankind. So I'm looking forward to seeing this film, and thanks David Wilcock for the heads up. I've noticed, and I mentioned, I think it was last week, that emails from organic consumers, which I receive their email, typically have really good information, and I agree with virtually everything. However, they believe in global warming caused by human activity, and they are advocating this demonstration. People's Climate March, 9/21, New York City joined the largest climate march in history. And the reason I'm addressing this is, it is news on its own. But over the weekend, we went to just a very localized, our small community had a kind of a festival around natural farming, individual gardening, organic crops, natural products, and things of that nature. It was great. We met a lot of interesting people, and people seem to have very good intentions. Some people are more awake than others, but I did notice there is an influence there. Even when people speak about not liking Monsanto and being aware of the dangers of GMOs and pesticides and so on and so forth. They still are, they buy into sustainability, and I believe in real sustainability, but they seem vulnerable to Agenda 21 type propaganda. And I've noticed this is happening more and more, that all of the impetus, momentum, passion around a desire for natural living, organic grown food, and anti-Monsanto sentiment, it's all being kind of swept up and meshed and used by the people who are promoting globalism, like as far as issues like Agenda 21. These people, the climate change people here in this case, the climate change, the people who believe in human-caused global warming, are sweeping together all of these people who believe in organics and natural living to support their cause, which really is a deception on a very deep foundational level. I hope that we can be aware of that and help people be aware of that it's great to be passionate about organic and even green living, true green living, which requires a high degree of CO2, and distinguish that from the contrived global warming Agenda 21 push. And one thing that I thought about as I was at the event that we attended was the reality is, we're told that global warming threatens us with desertification and overheating and loss of a green planet. Well, I suspect that the true cause of desertification that is happening has more to do with herbicides. When I was in Ohio a few weeks ago, I was driving I-80 with my daughter and passing a lot of fields of corn and soy. And a few years ago, you'd pass cornfields, soy fields, and there would be a lot of weeds just kind of randomly springing up in different places. And you don't any longer see weeds growing in corn or soy fields if they're GMO. There just aren't weeds there. Well, what does that mean? That means the runoff from these fields is going to kill, it's an herbicide. It's going to kill vegetation wherever it goes. And a couple days ago, we watched a documentary about Vietnam and post-war Vietnam and the vegetation and the wildlife. And it's come back. But included in the documentary were images of and film clips of Agent Orange being spread. And it just devastated the forests, everything green that was growing there. And some of these same corporations that produced Agent Orange are the ones who are now producing these herbicides. And it's going to have the same result. We're going to see much higher levels of desertification and just a lack of green growing things. That has nothing to do with global warming. It has to do with extensive, heavy use of very toxic herbicides. And I had a couple websites here. I did a search, desertification due to herbicides, and I found these articles. I'm sure there's a lot more out there. But of course, corporations like Monsanto, who make a lot of money off producing herbicides and the GMO crops that are able to endure them, are not going to admit they would like to have another cause for desertification. And I believe that is another aspect of the globalist plan that is served by a belief in global warming, that desertification is due to global warming when, in at least some measure, it is due to the use of herbicides. And for the good news of the day from Natural News, curing the incurables with ozone therapy. Some time ago, Alex Jones had a guest on who was talking about ozone therapy. I don't know a whole lot about it, so I was interested to see this article. And evidently, there are many diseases and maladies that respond very well to ozone therapy. So another weapon in our arsenal here against disease. Thank you for tuning in for today's 99th Monkey Liberty News. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hoping that you will love one another, take care, and insist on liberty.